So if you haven't watched the last two videos in this series, Tukiet and Xolotl, I highly suggest you watch those before jumping in on this one. To explain a little bit, both of what these are and why starting here might not be the best move is because I'm telling the story that took years to write in role-playing. And while I play some of my games, this is done by giving my take on some of the most memorable and noteworthy characters. Some will take several parts to fully and properly explain, as this is the case with the three kings. One body that was Kiot, Xolotl, and Tukiet. While Tukiet was the first one to truly enter the story, he was only known as the King. He wasn't actually a typical character. Rather than having any history of his own, he came into being whenever Kiot and Xolotl could reconcile in their mind they shared and were completely in tandem, forming a blended personality that referred to itself as Tuket. It was in this blend that gave them the ability to both conquer and recruit as they slowly decimated an entire realm of existence. In the end, he was also what allowed them to rule without question for well over a century after all that was left was gathered into this single kingdom. Tukiet was charismatic as Kiot and used his understanding of people to be able to gain their trust, as well as to lead them. It was Xolotl's strategic mindset that allowed him to be able to set entire battlefields and gave him his bloodlust that let him be able to kill all those who were against him without any remorse. Unfortunately, the blend came with its own kind of setbacks as well. Kiot's need for companionship and memories of his first love led to the capture and obsession of Hayato, and Xolotl's temper and jealousy amplified the power of the Crimson Rose over his mind and caused many issues over his pursuit of what would eventually become his queen. These conflicts also became the reason Xolotl and Kiot would be separated by Malreth later as well. This separation made it seem as if Tukiet was removed from play early on, before the first true story arc hit with the Oblivion Crisis. Unknown to everyone, though, Tukiet had simply seen what happened to Xolotl and instead took a back seat within Kiot's mind, waiting for the perfect moment to re-emerge. This happened really close to the end of the story, when the timeline and realm were slowly starting to be restored from the magical barriers that had held everything in a near stasis state. Of course, that means I will never truly know what would have happened, and can only speculate. Would he have attempted to take back over? Or was the removal of Xolotl's influence enough to have made conquering lovers enough for him to live a relatively happy existence? What made Tukiet so interesting was that he was and was not a whole being on his own. He relied heavily on the personality and influence of the true personalities of both the characters that made him up. Without them, he never would have existed at all. Or it could have actually been the big question is, was it actually a blend at all? Looking back, I kind of wonder of a different possibility for the character. When Kiot's past was revealed and I learned about the trauma, abuse, and extreme pressure placed on him to take a position he never wanted, he might have just cracked. Did Kiot form a secondary personality to help cope with the stress long before Xolotl was even there? Once Kiot realized that the spirit had lied to him, did he simply just hide it and let Xolotl become this other personality's teacher? Maybe Tukiet didn't take Xolotl's mind and abilities directly, but was merely following directions out of the sheer will to learn and grow. If that's the case, then without a doubt he hid in Kiot to avoid removal simply because he was a part of Kiot's own mind to begin with. And more frighteningly so, maybe Kiot was not as fractured as most believed, and only buried all his love and compassion in order to survive and live up to expectations. This was a character most memorable for the mystery of his very existence, a true show of ingenuity by his creator. Tookit will always be one I recall and reminisce on for the fact he started it at all, and somehow, despite all odds against it, he made it all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed the story of the Three Kings, One Mind, and that you continue to come back for more of the stories for Crimson Rose. In my next videos, I'll be talking about the main character from my side of the story tale, which was Hayato, the Crimson Rose himself. Thank you for watching or just listening, and I hope you join me for the next one. If you like this video, hit the like. If you enjoy any or all of my videos, whether art, gaming, or this series, please hit subscribe, and I'll catch you with the next one. Later.